Do it again, boo.
I can't even think about all of the shit I did to fit in. Past hard to watch like a fucking scary movie. I'm always happy to meet somebody that never knew me. Change for the better, hope niggas are living through me. I put it all on the wax so the people can know the true me. Hard to remain sane when the people you love the most is what's causing the damn pain. Y'all beef by the same thing, we ain't playing the same game. It's all for my family. She the girl of your fucking dreams, but to me she a plain Jane. You dipper and ball man, I duck when them calls came. This that higher level thinking. I'm the type to jump the fuck off of the shit before it's sinking. Not here for no new shit, my game slider boosted. Ain't I don't have to prove shit. Rockstar fight the fool shit. My movie, this the new script. I want a life with no bullshit, nigga. I know on these news clips. That's why I dap him and move quick. Won't be around when they move switch. Won't be around when they lose clips. Won't be around for they lose lips. Might be the reason they pull shit. Yeah.
As a kid, my passion was always football, right? But being taken away from the game, I didn't realize that my passion was playing football.
I hope everybody is having a dope fucking day. We got a lot of we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I almost cursed twice in the beginning of this opening, but I told myself mentally, yo, we not gonna. This fucking frog, dog. This fucking frog. But check me out. We got a lot of shit to get into. Oh, fuck, I still cursed. Anyways, we got a lot of stuff to get into. I mean, we talking about Kelsey, Plum. We talking about Baker Mayfield, Midfield. Talking about the Carolina Panthers, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Julius Randle, Russell Westbrook, Lamar Jackson. We got a lot of shit to talk about tonight. It's so fire that I gave y'all the rundown basically of everything we talking about tonight. Now just imagine when we finally like get video for it to be an actual like show and we got other people working with me and then we got like things in the video to tell you what spot we was talking about, yada yada yada. Anyways, you know, good shit. I just was on Twitter and this frog, bro, is really irritating me. But I was just on Twitter and it was a dude who tweeted, I saw my ex today, and we hugged each other while her boyfriend was while her new man was beside him, and it was a real nice hug, and now I hope that she go home and overthink things and think about me tonight and end up breaking up with him and leave him because I want my baby back. It was basically something like that. I'm going to put the tweet on the video, bro. That shit had me in tears, bro. I'm telling you, sometimes Twitter do exactly what it's supposed to do. Entertain you. You know, it's all them other times when you gotta watch people be haters on Twitter and say some of the most ruthless, ignorant, mean shit. And I know mean sound like such a elementary word, but I'm telling you, bro, if you really just think about the meaning behind the word mean, it's some real mean fucking people. Like, you know how we emphasize other words? I feel like we should put a lot of more emphasis on the word. Like how people be like, hate such a strong word. Yo, bro, I feel like mean should be such a strong word. Because it's some mean fucking people. And I used to not know how to really describe it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm somebody who curse a lot. And so mean just never sounded like the proper word. You know what I'm saying? You know, you a real son of a bitch. You a real hoe. You a real dickhead. Bro, you are a real mean fucking person, G. That feel better. That's like, that shit just feel more accurate when I'm describing certain people that I be seeing on Twitter. But I hope Buddy who tweeted that, I hope he get his girl back also, bro. I don't care if the dude who she with right now treat her better than the dude did. I don't care if he do everything for her that Bud didn't do. I feel like Buddy done learned this lesson. I'm praying on old Buddy's downfall. I'm praying that he fuck around, fuck up. I hope he end up getting his baby back. I'm hoping that for him. Now, I know some people out there who gonna be like, yo, why would you want him to get her back? They left each other for a reason. Listen, man, maybe that man wasn't mature enough at the time. Maybe that man didn't fully understand. Listen, I firmly believe after seeing him tweet that, he might have been tweeting that for clout. Or maybe he was tweeting something that his heart was really feeling. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm not going to hold my man. I'm not going to hold him. You know, I'm not going to hate on the man for that. I am gonna say fuck the new dude though. Excuse me. I hope he slip up. I hope he slip up so my guy can get him back. I don't even know this dude, by the way, who tweeted it. I don't know this dude. I just, I looked at the situation. I said this situation feels familiar. I've seen this situation. I felt this situation. I've seen others feel this situation. Fuck that new dude. Even if it don't work the second time, at least they tried. At least my man got his baby back and trying to. He might get it back and immediately realize, I hate this motherfucker. But that's all right. That's all right. Yo, listen, it was a long day, but we got a lot of shit to talk about. First off, I want to start off. I didn't even know how I was really going what topic I was going to start off with tonight. But I know exactly what topic I'm starting off with tonight. I know exactly what topic. I was looking at that Bill Simmons podcast, like I was looking at some clips from it. Yo, the way this dude who he had on was disrespecting Julius Randle, bro. And just the overall people disrespecting Julius Randle anyways. Like, Julius Randle and Russell Westbrook, two of the most disrespected. Now, Julius Randle not disrespecting nowhere near the level of a Russell Westbrook. Like, I looked at some video on Twitter today where some dude was playing some game, some rookie for the Spurs, and bruh asked him a question. He was like, what does Russell Westbrook get a lot of? And the answer was triple doubles. Bruh said bricks. I'm like, yo, are you serious? And then Lance was like, yo, this shit getting real disrespectful. This a Hall of Famer. And then Bobby Portis Jr. was like, yo, this getting disrespectful. And I've been spoke on this, bro. Like, this shit is so disrespectful that it's laughable. And it's allowed to happen because you see bozos like Skip Bayless get on TV and just flat out disrespect Russell Westbrook, knowing nothing is going to happen because people are going to be like, oh, it's just an opinion. And so other people feel like they can go out there and do that. Even though more than 90% of the people who talk about Russell Westbrook couldn't do half of the shit Russell Westbrook do, couldn't do a quarter of the shit Russell Westbrook do, people go out there and clown this man. And it's not even in a critique type of way no more. It's people who feel like, and this was so funny to me, people always be like, man, Russell Westbrook do these interviews like he personally hate us. Bro, y'all talk about that man like y'all personally don't like him. I see so many people talk about Russell Westbrook and take it off the court. Like they don't talk about him as pertaining to on the court. And when they do talk about him pertaining to off the court, well, let me say it like this. They'll start off talking about his game on the court, right? But then they'll start to feel like it's some hate go through their heart over Russell. So then they'll start to just take it to extremes. They'll start to just use crazy examples to start getting disrespectful. Like, it'd be so crazy that it get borderline disrespectful to straight up disrespectful how motherfuckers talk about Russ. Rather than just keeping it within the realm of basketball. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like because of that, and because everybody feel like they can just disrespect this man left and right, nobody gonna say nothing. Because go look at under any post, bro. You got so many people disrespecting Westbrook. You look at 10 comments, probably one of them comments is somebody trying to actually defend Russ. And I'm like, yo, I understand not being happy with production on the court or something like that, but hating somebody and disrespecting them to this level, for one, yeah, Russell Westbrook is a Hall of Famer. Like, I feel like people forget that it's selective, bro. Like, people choose to forget that. Or when they say it, they try to use it against him. Like, he a Hall of Famer and he playing this bad. Like, bruh, for one, the man is putting up better numbers still right now than most Hall of Famers was putting up late in this part of their careers. Two, I don't understand how people decide that they want to break down basketball for certain guys in a basketball term and whatnot, but not for other guys. Because it's so easy to see why Russ struggled this year. And I don't even think Russ was that bad. If you're looking for Russ to be a shooter, Russ has never been a scorer, a shooter. What Russ has been over the last couple years has gotten teams to the playoffs, whether people want to admit it or not. Now, has it gotten them far? No. But Russ also hasn't had the best teams. Now, Russ ain't flawless. I think he do need some tweaks with his leadership. I do think he need to tweak certain parts of his game and whatnot. But some of the shit that people say about this man is nothing to do with his on the court play. Or it's just flat out like, I don't know how you can't look at this man. It's just dislike, because to look at him and just completely trash on this man. For one, I don't like it when people disrespect these athletes just because they feel like they had bad games. Oh, they scoring bad, so it's a free season to disrespect them and shit on their legacies and question their legacies and shit like that. Like, bro, y'all sound like a bunch of goofs and haters. But that don't mean nothing to y'all, because y'all motherfuckers actually happy about being haters and shit these days. Because you can do it behind the internet, behind keyboards and shit. Like, I was under a YouTube video today, and this dude was talking about Lamar, and I was breaking everything down, but a dude in the comment section replied to me. He was like, I think it's crazy how people don't, how when Lamar win, you don't hear nothing about his weapons, but as soon as he loses, it's like, oh, he don't got the best weapons and blah, blah, blah. And I responded to him, and he tried to compare that situation to the KD situation. And I was like, for one, I'm confused as to how these two situations compare to each other at all. But for two, I'm like, you've never heard nobody ever, when Lamar Jackson win or lose, talk about how great weapons, how many great weapons he had, or how he got to try to force the ball to a certain weapon because that weapon is so great and need to be targeted. You've never heard that, bro. When we win, it's because of Lamar, bro. Go watch the tapes, bro. Like, to say goofy shit like that don't make no sense to me. But I didn't approach him in no disrespectful way. I was just like, bro, you've never heard that, because they've never said that. I said, the only weapon that Lamar Jackson has is Mark Andrews. And I said, that is a tight end. I said, every single weapon on that top 10 list has a number one receiver or a number, and some of them got number one and number two receivers. Two number two receivers who could go be number ones for other teams. This dude's response was, yeah, you're right, but... And then he started getting hella disrespectful. And I tweeted back. I responded to him, because usually I don't even respond to people when they get disrespectful and shit, because I understand I can't put my hands on these keyboard warriors. But for something just came over me, and I responded to that motherfucker. And I'm like, yo, motherfuckers like you are just real goofy to me, bro. Like, y'all motherfuckers see somebody tweet or respond to y'all with something that they don't agree with, and it don't matter how friendly they try to respond, y'all motherfuckers just immediately start hating and being disrespectful and shit because y'all got this strength being behind a keyboard. I'm like, bro, that shit weird to me, bro. Like, y'all the weirdest dudes on God's green earth to me, bro, if you believe in that type of thing. But then that shit is just weird to me, that you could have this type of energy, this type of bravado, unprovoked energy behind a keyboard because a motherfucker responded to you as friendly as possible. He just didn't agree with what your take was. It's like I was talking about this dude who responded to me on Twitter the other day with nothing but straight hate, and I'm thinking to myself, now in my head, I'm like, yo, if we was in front of each other and you responded to me like that, bruh, for one, you would not respond to me like that if we was in front of each other. Two, if you decided to get that hype and disrespectful right in front of me, you best believe you was gonna get checked. And it could have escalated, my guy. I'm just telling you right now, just based off of how he was speaking to me online. And that's how I responded to this motherfucker, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bruh? That's a mean person. Somebody who respond like that. And it's so crazy, because sometimes I be wanting to respond to these people, because I could respond to them with some shit. But I just be like, bro, I'm not finna go down this road of doing this shit with motherfuckers online, bro. It's just not gonna happen. If I meet a motherfucker in real life who want to throw some jabs back and forth, bro, I'm all for that. But online, that's a certain time when you can do that, or when I feel like doing that. But I'm just not the type of person that's gonna be going back and forth with either trolls, mean motherfuckers online, soldiers on keyboard soldiers. I'm not doing it. Keyboard gangsters, I'm not doing it. There's no shot. I done seen some of the people who talk crazy behind these keyboards, bro. I'm telling you. Once you see some of these real life people who talk crazy behind these keyboards, bro, you really got to get to a point where you just like, fuck it, I'll respond. Because other than that, you just going to be like, man, I ain't even going to give it the energy. Dead ass, bro. That's how some of these motherfuckers be online. But getting all the way back. We're not starting with Lamar Jackson. We're not starting with we really not starting with football, period, bro. Ignore everything we was just talking about. We starting off with the WNBA. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. I want to start. We're gonna start off with. We're gonna keep talking about Russell Westbrook, Julius Randle. Then we're gonna get into Kelsey Plum. But hopping back all the way to the Russell Westbrook, because I don't want to start talking about Lamar. This was never. I started getting into this little thing about Lamar, bro. This is not about Lamar. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. We're talking about Russell Westbrook, and ultimately how I don't like how people been disrespecting him and Julius Randle. Like I said earlier, if you just a basketball purist, a basketball fan who can sit down and look at the game, bro, you already know why Russell Westbrook was a bad idea in LA in the first place. You already know why he was struggling this year. The man is a point guard he is a point guard, bro. And he couldn't be a point guard with Bron. And you don't want Bron taking back seats to two different players. You really don't want him taking a back seat to AD, but because he advanced in his age, even though he did just go for a 40 piece in the Drew League. I understand them ain't NBA players, but I'm just saying. But I just think it was never going to work. It wasn't a head coach, and no shots at Frank Vogel. I like Frank, but Frank Vogel wasn't the coach that could put them in the offensive system that could utilize LeBron, AD, and Russ. So that's one of the reasons it didn't work. Those three personalities, I could care less if the three personalities fit. Just point blank, the way they styles wasn't gonna never mesh. So I could care less when people be like, oh, the three personalities. I could care less about the personalities. The way they play basketball was never going to fit. And so to talk as crazy as people have done talked about Russ just because of this 1 year, which he really didn't even have a terrible year the way people try to make it out to be. It's just wild to me. I really think this is a thing that's happening too because people look at him like, oh, well, LeBron didn't win this year because they got to find somebody to blame. And that's, to me, it's disrespectful how people talk. If I was Russ, I wouldn't even want to be in LA. It ain't even got nothing to do with being, mentally strong and ignoring the noise. And nah, bro, it just get to a point where motherfuckers just so disrespectful and just so ungrateful and just so mean, bro. That it's like, bro, I don't even want to be in this environment, bro. People feel free to talk crazy to my wife, talk crazy about my kids, constantly call me out of my name, which has nothing to do about basketball. Like, people be like, oh, well, it happened to LeBron. Yeah, it's not cool when it happened to that motherfucker either, bruh. Like, so, to me, if I was Russ, bruh, I'd try to get as far away from this situation as possible, bruh. Dead ass. In a perfect world, bro, Russ could be able to go back to OKC and retire with grace in OKC with a team and a fan base that actually appreciate that, man. Because I'm telling you, this shit right here just ignorant to me. And I saw a tweet today that was like, look at how Paul George and Bradley Beal embraced Russ. And that's a fact. Look at how those two dudes embraced Russ compared to how LeBron basically done embraced him. I saw the summer league shit, people talking about, oh, him and Russ was at the same summer league and never talked to each other. I saw how, I even spoke last year about how I don't think he verbally defended Russ enough. And there's going to be people out there who like, oh, well, that's not his job to defend Russell Westbrook against the media. Yes, it is. He is the leader. You don't start putting them KD rules on LeBron James. And LeBron knows that he could have handled this Russell Westbrook situation better, especially since you was one of the ones who wanted to get Russ. That's one of the things that I always spoke on about LeBron, his bad body language as far as being a leader and whatnot. Like, just go back and look at the JR incident. That's one of the absolute worst cases of a leader you can ever see. One of the worst displays of leadership you would ever see, in my opinion. But to me, if LeBron, like, I love Bron, and I think he a great leader. Steph Curry would have done this better if Russ was on his team. Him and Draymond would have defended Russell Westbrook against the media far more than LeBron. And it ain't their jobs to do it either if you feel like it wasn't LeBron's. But they would have done it. They would not have let him take the type of heat he was taking in LA and Golden State. Even if he played worse in Golden State than you feel like he played in LA. Curry, Dre, and Clay would not, and Kerr would not have letting Russell Westbrook get dogged out like LeBron allowed him to be in LA. He would not have constantly caught those strays with the media. He wouldn't constantly have gotten into it with the media. I'm telling people keep thinking that, oh, Russ just got this rough personality. Bro, Russ legitimately felt like everybody was against him. For whatever reason, he felt like Frank was against him. He felt like Braun was against him. He felt like AD was against him. He felt like management was against him. The fans was against him. The reporters was against him. You never want your players to feel like that, and that's a job of LeBron James to not have Russell Westbrook feel like that. And some people gonna be like, well, Russ a grown-ass man. Just say you've never watched or participated in sports and just keep moving, bro. Because I don't have the time to keep going back and forth with people who argue those type of stupid-ass rebuttals. Yes, if you've never played sports and never participated in any type of team sport and never really watched them, then sure, all those type of stupid ass remarks you're gonna have, you're right. But for the people who play sports, participated in sports, watch sports thoroughly, and understand this team concept and what leaders do. Because for one, if you're a Curry fan, come on now, you already know how Curry is as a leader, and you done seen Dre. You know how they would have treated Russell Westbrook and how they would have had his back if he was in Golden State. LeBron didn't do that enough, in my opinion. To me, too many times, the news breaks of LeBron going against his teammates. Him and Kyrie beefing. Him and Kevin Love beefing. Him and Chris Bosh got something. Chalmers got something. Like, LeBron James, if it was anything that could... that I would say he could improve on as far as his career, it would be that. Because I just think it's too many times. And like I said before, when you take him and Curry, bro, two different leadership styles. I appreciate them both. But I would prefer to be with a leader like Steph Curry. And that's taking nothing away from LeBron James, because I would play with LeBron James in a heartbeat. But it's something about Golden State, the culture over there, the leadership of Kerr, the leadership of a Steph Curry, that give people the ability and the... what would I say it's called? They feel like they can be themselves and ball out and contribute to winning. And I feel like Russ has never truly been in a situation like that. Even though, yeah, he was in winning situations with LA last year, you could say. And he was in a winning situation at OKC. He hasn't been in a culture like a Golden State. He's never played with he was always trying to be the alpha on the team, or was the alpha on the team. He ain't never played with a player like a Steph Curry. With a leader like a Steph, not even a player, just the leader of a Steph Curry, like a Steph Curry or a Draymond, who would yell at Russ and put him in his place and try, not really put him in his place, I don't like that term, but that would get him out of his own head and, tell him when he not helping, when it contributing to winning, and when he getting a little too selfish or a little too in his own head and things like that. And he would definitely defend him to the media and wouldn't let nobody in the public talk about a rift or, you know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, the media going to do that because it is what it is. They did that when they had KD because they wanted to break that thing up, and then turned around and tried to make it seem like Golden State was the people who didn't appreciate that man, when really the media started those headlines. But it is what it is. The revisionist history of the goofy-ass media, sports media. But I just don't like how Russ has been treated. I think LeBron's leadership could be, and I'm not getting on here trying to defend a dude who just, because, he played bad and you defend. No, motherfucker. For one, if you feel like he played bad, bro, I'm fine with you criticizing him. What people are doing is not criticizing. It's just straight up being disrespectful, bro. Flat out. Dead ass. And then somebody gonna think it's crazy next year if Russ feels some type of way when he play old buddy who said that goofy shit. I don't like that Skip Bayless got the freedom to go on TV and consistently call Russ out of his name. I think that shit wild. Some people say, he just critiquing him. No, he's not. He's calling the man out of his name. The man done told him to stop calling him out of his name. He continued to do it. I can't imagine if a black man was on TV calling a white dude out of his name. And Peyton Manning said, hey, stop calling me out of my name. Could you imagine if Stephen A. Smith was on TV calling Peyton Manning out of his name? And Peyton responded and told Stephen A. to stop calling him out of his name? And if Stephen A. kept doing it, could you imagine that type of coverage and backlash? Whew. But old ass white Skip do it. Nobody said a word. It's kind of like that comment I saw the other day when a dude was like, it was under a UFC post, and he was like, the only reason people have a problem with these jokes that Israel Adesanya pull off is because he black. But if he was a white dude in the UFC, nobody would give a fuck, like Chael Sonnen. And people was trying to kill him under the comments, but I was like, LOL, that's actually funny. I was like, I think you're right, but I was like, Izzy is kind of corny. I was like, dude tells some absolute corny ass, cringe ass jokes. I was like, but your point about that Chael Sonnen shit is right. I said Chael or Covington say some of this goofy ass shit, motherfuckers would be dying laughing, trying to say all these type of shit. So it's just a joke. They could say racist shit. People gonna support him. And it's a dude who responded to me in the comment section, was like, bruh, it's crazy that you think I'm racist just because I think that it would be funny if Chael Sonnen said this, even though he wouldn't even say anything like this. And I responded, I said, you're right, because he probably would have added a little bit more. He said Chael would have said something that was tough and gritty. I said, the only reason you think Chael would have said something that's tough and gritty is because you're white. I said, ask 90% of the black people, even probably higher than that, we don't find nothing Chael Sonnen say gritty and tough. I said, it's a matter of perspective. I said, because you're white, it's really nothing that man can say that you won't offend you, unless the man just start popping off with the hard ER. Because I'm pretty sure he say the N-word period, and you just gonna be like, well, yeah, the black people say it, so why can't we say it? So when you deal with those type of fans online, bro, I don't even know how I got into talking about that, but it is. Anyways, back to Russell Westbrook. So I done talked about him. I also want to talk about Julius Randle, because much like Russell Westbrook, I feel kind of the same way. See, Julius ain't a Hall of Famer or nothing like that, like Russ is. However, bro, Julius was coming off of one of his best seasons of his career. He don't even have a bad season last year. He just didn't have the heights that he had last year. And it's a lot of reasons for that. But I saw somebody call this man a cancer to the team today. I was seeing people say, like, the Knicks have to get rid of Julius Randle. Like, it's no way they can succeed with him. He is a thorn in everything they do. And I'm just like, bro, you just simply do not know ball, bro. If you look at the Knicks and you say what's the top problems with the Knicks, and Julius Randle was anywhere near the top, you just don't know ball. Julius Randle, the best player on that team, for one. But Julius Randle also has, I don't know why people all want people to be Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. Like, every player got their own play style, bro. Some players cannot just go out there and be the best player on a team by themselves and carry a team every single year to a play. That shit is hard to do. Julius Randle was able to do it that first year, but he also had better help around him. This next year, tell me who Julius Randle had on his team to take the pressure off of him scoring wise. Who was on his team to help him get easier buckets? Who was on his team where he could not have to be the number one option every fucking game of the calendar season? Like, you say crazy stuff like, Julius Randle a cancer to his team and he this bad, and he, when you say wild shit like that without actually breaking down why Julius Randle had not even a bad season, why he just struggled at times this year, and you try to just put your emotions in, like, oh, he gave a thumbs down to the fans. That's what I'm talking about, bro. These goofy ass analysts and the emotions of the fan, bro. You got fans in Boston yelling racist shit left and right. I don't hear nobody constantly getting on TV going at Boston fans. Ever. Klay Thompson said them motherfuckers be talking crazy to him. Everybody was trying to say Klay was soft. So I'm not trying to hear none of that shit. You got these goofy ass analysts who say shit like, oh, he booed the fans, he constantly going at it with the fans. Who gives a fuck, bro? Tell the fans to stop being so disrespectful, acting like a bunch of bitches. Like I said before, they're not professional athletes. They can't go out there and do a fucking quarter of the shit that these athletes can do. But Julius Randle struggled shooting wise tonight, and people boo him. His own home crowd boos him, and now they up and under. They got their panties all up in their bunch because that man gave them a thumbs down back. It's so crazy to me how y'all expect for these athletes to just be treated like pure shit and take it. And if they ever respond, for one, I don't like it when they get fined for responding to these goofy ass ignorant fans. It'd be different if a fan just booing them and they responded and flicked off a fan that's booing them. But fans yelling fuck you and shit like that, and then they get fined for responding, that's just absolutely wild to me. And that's starting to feel a little way too much like slavery, in my opinion, because the fact that y'all expect these men to be slaves to y'all, and I know people, oh, they the slaves that make millions of dollars. All right, bro. The fact that these motherfuckers go out there and y'all think that they just slaves to y'all entertainment, y'all can say whatever y'all want to, do whatever y'all want to these motherfuckers as if they are not human beings and they cannot respond, they can't show human emotions, is wild to me. It's just wild. And I don't like it. Julius Randle got every right. And people who say, oh, he emotional. Let me see how you act if a whole bunch of people came to your job and was booing you. If you a podcaster who actually reads your comment section and millions of comments in your section is booing you and calling you crazy names. See, these dudes on the internet and these dudes on ESPN and Fox and all these sports analysts and shit, they love to compare themselves to these athletes. It's like, well, I get hate all the time and I get over it. Bro, you don't get the thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of messages, of tweets that these motherfuckers get on their Instagram, Snapchats, Twitters, Facebooks. You do not get the type of vitriol and hate that these motherfuckers get, because you're nowhere near as famous, or popular as them. You're nowhere near as accessible as them. So, and people just quite frankly don't care about you like they do professional athletes. So I never like it when people on TV who talk about the athletes love to do that shit where they compare them. Well, I get over it. I don't respond to tweets, so why does Kevin Durant? Bruh. What are you talking about? You don't get, not even a Skip Bayless get the type of heat that a Kevin Durant is getting on a daily basis, bro. If you had somebody do the analytics for how much hate tweets, just the tweets that an athlete get on a just daily basis in a 24-hour span, the number of just hateful comments and tweets that an athlete can get just on their Twitter alone, it'd be staggering. Just unbelievable that somebody would have to deal with that type of meanness on a daily basis coming at them at that type of rate. And you got people who say, well, just stay off of Twitter. Motherfucker, you don't stay off of Twitter. Let me see if we sent you millions of people tweeting, overflowing your shit a day with hate messages and hate tweets and shit, and see if you stayed off Twitter still. Like, come on, bro. It's easy to say what your broke ass would do compared to what these famous rich people and athletes would do. It's just crazy, bro. And I'm broke too, but I just don't have that type of mentality and goofy ass shit that y'all be saying, bro. It's just absolutely wild, bro. But I'm so over this disrespect. And I just saw it happening to Julius Randle and Russell Westbrook so much that I was like, and I should have been spoke on it about for Julius. And I believe I did speak on it early during the NBA season, but I hadn't touched back on it yet about Julius. But yeah, y'all motherfuckers is a bunch of goofs, bro. I don't like how y'all motherfuckers treat these athletes at all. But shout out Julius Randle and Russ, bro. I hope they fucking just destroy you motherfuckers this season. And you gonna jump back on their back. Oh, I was never a hater and none of them. I always like, yeah, whatever. Tell me how my dick tastes. Shout out 21 Savage. But next I want to get into this top 10 list. This top 10. Actually, first I said I was going to talk about Kelsey Plum. Real fast, bro. Let's touch on this Kelsey Plum shit, bro. That WNBA All-Star Game trophy, bro. What the fuck was that? That shit was so disrespectful. And what's crazy is they showed a video of her teammates clowning that award after the thing. And I thought to myself, the fucking WNBA people who was creating that shit was laughing when they was making it, laughing at when they had the meeting about is that gonna be what they presented, laughing during the meeting when they was drawing it up, laughing during the meeting when they actually drew the shit up and knew that was the final product, laugh when the shit was sitting there in front of them looking at the final product, knowing that we was giving a motherfucker a fucking, and I don't even know if they actually had to get this thing drawn up or nothing like that. They probably just ran to a Walmart or a Radio or any type of store that sell little trophies, little spirit awards, and got that thing for cut. That shit was disrespectful, bro. Anytime you can hold a trophy upside down by its base with one hand with absolute ease and sling it around and you know for a fact nothing gonna happen unless you just intentionally let it go because it's as light as a motherfucking pencil and as small as a motherfucking eraser, you got yourself a problem. And the fact that the WNBA love to run their league as if they are a Fortune $100 company or only running on $100 budget is absolutely fucking insane to me. Like, they really act like they only bringing in $100 a year. And it's disgraceful, bro. They love to bitch about their league night. And I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the people up top who love to complain about not having the funding and things of that nature. But they treat their players like this. They sweep in all this money and treat the players like this. I don't like how that WNBA coach brought in LeBron James when talking about if Brittany Griner, if it was LeBron over there, they would have been like, what did it serve you saying some goofy shit like that? Like, what? Like, I'm telling you, boy, that was crazy. I don't know how that just popped up in my head because we talking about the WNBA. But that shit was crazy. But back to the WNBA higher-ups. The way they treat their players. You can keep talking about, oh, we love Brittany Griner, we want her home all you want to. Man, they doing that shit for money, bro. That shit is If I know anything about the how can you talk about you love Brittany Griner and then walk out there and present that bullshit-ass trophy to Kelsey Plum? One of the stars of your league, for one. Like, and then, like I done said multiple times, what does this league do to hype up their WNBA season, games, all-star event, finals event? Nothing. They expect everybody else to do it, and they just do the bare minimum. I told you, it's a crime that all their players have to go overseas to make real money because of WNBA. And obviously, you make what you can bring in, but listen, the WNBA ain't doing enough. It's point blank period. They could get more viewers. They could do more to make these things bigger. You got people talking about the NBA need to find ways to hype up tournaments and shit like that. I saw somebody say that let the Drew League be a message. That this is how the NBA should be doing. Like, bro, shut up, bro. I ain't even trying to be disrespectful, but I hate it when people say shit like that. Like, if the NFL want to be better, they need to have bowl games like college. Bro, for one, don't ever compare the NFL to college because college football is not real football. That shit's a joke. That's one. Two, the NBA don't need to do nothing else. I don't even like the play-in game. They announced the other day that that's going to be a permanent thing going forward. I hate the play-in game. I don't think that the 7, 8, and 9 seed or 8 and 9 seed should be up for grabs after 82 fucking games in a season, bro. That's absolutely wild to me that your spot could be up for grabs after 82 fucking games to decide how you are seeded. That's just insane to me. I don't like that. So I'm never going to be a fan of that. I wasn't when they first presented it. I'm still not a fan of it. And I'm very sure I'm not going to be a fan. And this is the thing. Bro, I could have a favorite team that make it with the play-in. I'm not going to like the play-in. It's just not going to happen. The play-in one day could help the Lakers and the Warriors. I do not like the play-in. I do not think that there should be more games to decide a team getting into the playoffs, even if they the bottom seeds, after 82 games were played to decide who gets into the playoffs. So I'm not a fan of that. I'm never going to be a fan of that. That's a bunch of bullshit, and it's a slap in the face to that, 7, 8, and 9 seeds, or 6, 7, and 8 seeds, because I don't even think 9 seeds get in. I think it's the top 8 seeds to get in. So I don't like it. Never going to like it. Think they need to obliterate that rule, but clearly they won't. It is what it is. But talking about running back to the WNBA, because these motherfuckers, I was going to say something, these motherfuckers ain't off the leash yet. I just think it's goofy that they actually presented that award to Kelsey Plum, an absolute baller. She balled out the other night. The WNBA just continue to show us time and time again that they don't give a fuck about their players. So really, we shouldn't give a fuck about that. Not just their players, their league. That's what they show you too many times. That they don't give a fuck about the league, and then they'll turn around. And I'm not never talking about the players. I'm talking about the coaches, the higher ups, the executive, all them. And they'll turn around and constantly say goofy shit like what that head coach said. So, the WNBA need to be better, need to do better. But us saying that to them will do nothing. You know what should have happened once? I'm not into that bullying shit. Twitter should have bullied the WNBA after they gave Kelsey Plum that bullshit trophy and forced her to get another trophy for them to go make them an act. Not even for her. She should have just been this person who actually finally got that shit changed. Like where, this is an embarrassment. This will never happen again. This is a bad look for our league to be giving out trophies that they look like they give out at Little League soccer games, bro. Somebody did a comparison of how the NBA's trophy All-Star Kobe Bryant Award looked compared to theirs. And obviously you didn't need a fucking comparison to understand that if you know what both awards look like. But I don't like some people who use that shit and was like, see, how did the NBA get this type of award but the W? Like, come on, bro. None of these females in this league is fucking you, bro. Like, chill out. But the WNBA should be looking at the NBA and saying they present an award that look that prestigious. They act as if every single one of their awards are prestigious. They make them feel that way. They got summer league championships now, giving out awards there. They're giving out Western and Eastern Conference Finals awards now. Like, the NBA want players to feel big. They want them to feel awarded for their accomplishments and things of that nature. The WNBA just ain't the same, bro. It ain't the same. They could do so many different little things that would help them grow their fan base before they finally hit those big things that start to really make them blow off. But they can't even hit the little marks, bro. What's getting a good All-Star game trophy, bro? What's, for one, hyping up your All-Star game more and having it as a weekend to hype it up? Like, bring in some NBA players to see if they'll come in. They usually off during this part of the year anyway, so find out if you could get some of them to participate. I'm pretty sure some of these dudes would participate in some of these events if you had them playing this ahead of time and shit like that. But the WNBA show too many times that they don't give a fuck about their league, but they want you to care about their league because they want you to pay for their league so you can continue to put money in their pockets. So shout out to Kelsey Plum, an absolute hooper. And the WNBA need to do something, bro, because that shit was just fucking disrespectful, having her hold that little goofy ass trophy like that. But shout out to Kelsey Plum, who dropped a 30 burger in the All-Star game. Just eating. But next we got to get to Lamar Jackson, bro. We got to talk about my guy, my quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Listen, the ESPN and the Colin Cowherd top 10s just dropped like they dropped last week. And you would be amazed at how many videos I done actually made discussing this. But I'm finally getting out this whole fucking video. I saw both of those lists. And like neither one of those lists, to be completely honest with you. Obviously, I think it's wild because I watched the Ravens game, so I know what Lamar Jackson is, and you could just break down the quarterbacks and understand his importance. But, you know, at this point, the people who still decide to disrespect Lamar, because saying he ain't a top 10 quarterback is just insane. It's just absolutely insane. Over half of the list, the man better than. He don't have nearly to work with what these other dudes have to work with, and yet and still, he's a playoff quarterback every year if he's at the helm. The team that's seen what they are without him, they see what they are with him. You can't take most of these quarterbacks, if not, I don't think you could really take any of them but Brady and maybe Aaron Rodgers. Put him in Lamar Jackson situations he done dealt with since he done been in the league and asked them to have success. For one, Greg Roman wouldn't be there anymore if Brady and Rodgers were there. He would have gotten both of those. Both of those two would have gotten that man up out of there because his offense is so counterproductive to what they want to do. But I don't think any of those other quarterbacks, you plug them into this situation and get you the success that Lamar gets you. You put Lamar Jackson in those other guys' situations with these number one receivers, and some of them, like I said, got 1 and 2. Lamar Jackson's going to give you better than most of these other guys. For one, Dak Prescott was on the list for one of these, for one of either the ESPN, he was on the ESPN's top 10 list, or either Colin Cowherd's. I think it was the ESPN one. Either way, how in the fuck would you rate Dak over Lamar Jackson? For one, Dak's record is inflated. Everybody already know about Dak's numbers, bro. How they motherfucker be losing games. They be so far behind. Then he just add these inflated, irrelevant stats that actually made no difference. And then you look at the fact that he played in a division where 3 of the teams in his division, it's only 4 teams in the division, 3 of those teams are perennial bad teams. The Giants are one of the worst. The Giants haven't been over 500, I think they said, in like 6 years or a decade, bruh. Like, stop it. They are playing in a terrible division. Dak Prescott can beat bad teams in his division, but can't beat good teams in other divisions. He could not beat the Cardinals team at the end of last year when the Cardinals turned into a bad team. You want to know the team that they was able to beat at the end of the year when they were still a bad team? The Cowboys. Because Dallas cannot beat good teams led by Dak. Dak has proven that. I like Dak. It's no way you look at football games and think that Dak Prescott, with all the talent he done had on that team, is better than Lamar Jackson. That's absolutely insane. Could you imagine if Lamar Jackson had Joe Burrow's weapons? I mean, Joe Burrow literally got dropped into a situation where he already had Higgins and Boyd and Mixon. But then they dropped in this motherfucker, Jamar Chase. What? Could you imagine if he had a Stephon Diggs at his disposal? Could you imagine if he had a Tyreek Hill at his disposal to go along with a Travis Kelsey and something that people really don't talk about enough, a Andy Reid and an Eric Bieniemy? Like, you look at some of these situations. Can you imagine if he had a Devontae Adams at his disposal? Like, if you look, a Mike Evans and a Godfrey and a fucking Antonio Brown at his disposal. See, I saw the Bernard Pollard, how he was going back and forth with Lamar on Twitter, and I hate it when motherfuckers do what Bernard Pollard got on there and did, and I think I spoke on that on one of my previous videos, but I just don't like it when people do what Bernard Pollard chooses to do, wake up and be a hater on people. That's just, I hate that. People say he being critical. No, he's not being critical. The man has been poking at Lamar Jackson for the longest, and the only mistake Lamar Jackson did was making this man famous again. So, but you got people who will hate on him like this, and I just think it's crazy that people, when they decide to go at Lamar, it's a couple things they do. They talk about the throwing. It's incorrect when people continuously say he can't throw because the numbers back it up that he can throw. But people just love to run with that narrative he can't throw. Cool. People love to use team accomplishments to go at Lamar. You never hear people talk about... Justin Herbert was on this list. People like to say, oh, Lamar Jackson not good in the playoffs, when actually, if you go look at those games, a lot of his teammates are the ones who was actually bad in the playoffs, not actually Lamar. But that's neither here nor there. You look at Justin Herbert on this list. This man ain't made a playoff game yet. And this is what everybody says, oh, well, he got a coach to gamble a lot. The defense not really that good. Oh, he kind of young. Well, Lamar Jackson's young. And I can't argue Joe Burrow right now because the motherfucker that made a Super Bowl, even though he didn't win it. So I'm not even going to argue because I think Joe Burrow's a top 10 quarterback. If I had to make my top 5 right now, though, number 1 would be Pat Mahomes. Number 2 would be Aaron Rodgers. Number 3 would be Tom Brady. Number 4 would be Lamar Jackson. Number 5 would be Josh Allen. Number 6 would be Joe Burrow. Number 7 would be... Oh, so I done told you where Joe Burrow would land, basically. So Joe Burrow would land at 6. I'm looking at people who got Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is 6th on both of those lists. What? How is Lamar... You see, that's what I'm saying. Look, Stafford got a great team, and instantly they like, oh, well, now he better than Lamar Jackson. Like, I just don't understand the criteria. You got somebody like Shannon Sharp, who I like, but he keep getting on TV basically spewing out incorrect information. You keep saying, oh, he can't make the consistent throws from the pocket and blah, blah, but he has, though. And then, what is the criteria for winning? Because, what's the criteria? Because I don't think it's winning no more. It's how you win. And it ain't even how you win. If you look good losing, i.e. Justin Herbert, will still up. Derek Carr, which is just laughable. And if you listen to me all football season, you know how much I love Derek Carr. Derek Carr being on anybody's top 10 list is just absolutely laughable. Over Lamar Jackson, bro. Derek Carr ain't made a playoff since, his second season or third season in the NFL, bro. Until last year, and barely got in, and you rank him over Lamar. You got the people who say, oh, well, he injury prone, because I saw Colin. He run around so much, he got hurt finally. He got hurt in the pocket both times. Both times. You got people like Emmanuel Archer. Well, both his seasons the last 2 years done ended in injury. For one, Josh Allen played bad in that playoff game that we lost to the Bills. In that game against the Bills, if you look at before that pick 6 happened that everybody liked to blame Lamar for, a motherfucker legit dropped a catch just before that that would have ended up in a touchdown. That whole the previous drives were just fucked up by multiple drops by players all over the field. And then to end that game basically for Lamar, The center threw the ball, hiked the ball 20 yards over the man's head as he going to try to recover the ball. He get concussed. The next year when he end up his season is ended in Cleveland. Once again, a bad offensive line play is what had him scrambling in the pocket to try to get out of pressure, and a dude falls on his leg, basically. Neither time did he get hurt running around or trying to run. So, you still got people who will say that Lamar Jackson is a scrambling quarterback. Bruh, if you watch this man play, more times than not, you'll say, Lamar, why didn't he run right there? He stayed in the pocket too long right there. The man's not a scrambling quarterback. They draw up design runs from here and there. But for the most part, if you draw up a play for him, he is trying to operate from the pocket. The fact that people still walk around or still can get on TV and say that, oh, he don't operate good. What are you talking about? That's where he primarily operates from. So, to me, the fact that people are refusing to go and do their homework on Lamar Jackson like they will, but they will go try to look up stats that will try to boost their opinions, their negative narratives. And I just can't remember the last time I seen a dude win. Now, fuck the fact that Lamar is a unanimous MVP, something that's only been done by him and Brady. When is the last time I seen a player of this caliber that do as much for, like I said, like the criteria for winning, bro? You got players on this list who don't win nowhere near as much as Lamar Jackson. People talk about this playoff success and all this type of shit, team things. Josh Allen ain't got that. Burrow ain't got that. The only young quarterback on that list that's got a Super Bowl is Pat Mahomes, which is why he is rated number 1, because he's so young doing what he's doing. But bruh, like I thought about it. Russell Wilson moved down on my list. I just want you to know I put him under Burrow for the simple reason, Russell Wilson, when I looked at the stats, the last couple years, bro, for one, you can't, I don't like this motherfucker Nick Wright, but he kind of right when he say, name a playoff moment that Russell Wilson has had in the last, since they lost that Super Bowl. You can't. And even though I'm giving him a whole bunch of respect for how he done played during the season at times, Russell Wilson got to fall down. He haven't been better than Lamar Jackson since Lamar done got to the NFL. Like, I don't know why, so I do know why people refuse to give him, because people who was wrong want to just continue to try to be wrong until they feel like they can finally be right. You just got people out there who are ignorant. Like, it just is what it is. You got people who, I saw people the other day on the TV show trying to say that Lamar Jackson, you should be above going at a Bernard. Bro, I hate it when people try to tell somebody how to respond to somebody disrespecting them. Like, you see motherfuckers act all type of different ways, but oh sure, let me tell them how to respond when they get disrespected, when I know I be acting wild myself. Like, I can't stand that shit. But those top 10 lists are goofy. I done said before on the show, these lists that they make are always made with some type of craziness to them so they can be talked about. The fact that they continuously leave Lamar off, to me, is just, especially when you just listen to some of their reasons, because you could just go back and forth with all their dumbass reasons if you actually watch the games and sit down and watch these teams play. You could go back and forth. The one name on that list that should be on the list, but I actually think should be lower, even than where I have him, because I'm just giving him the respect off of this season, is Joe Burrow. Because if you really looked at Joe Burrow last season, he didn't look to me like no damn top 10 quarterback. It looked to me like he played a lot of teams at their absolute worst. And I know that's hard to explain to some people, but if you just went and watched Joe Burrow and them boys play, you'd understand what I'm saying. If you talk, you know how some people say, oh man, they caught a break. Go watch the Bengals sometimes. They caught more breaks than you could ever imagine a team. And that's why I saw one analyst this year who actually watched the Bengals play, and he was like, I can't really explain it, but the Bengals really just had a lucky year. And I know how that sounds, but a lot of things went there, and I instantly knew what he was talking about, because I was like, yeah, I watched them play this season. I know exactly what you're talking about. The Bengals could have easily not have made the playoffs, just like how luck went. Like, if just 2 or 3 things don't go their way like they did, the Bengals probably missed the playoffs. But because everything that could go their way went their way, even in the Super Bowl, things damn near fell their way. It just took a man named Aaron Donald, a monster named Aaron Donald, to fuck up the plans. Like, so I'm kind of iffy on how good I really think Joe Burrow is. I think this year he'll probably solidify where I got him ranked at, or solidify that he even better. Or maybe he won't be what Because that's the only one that I think should be on the list, but it's kind of, that's the one that's confusing to me. And maybe it's because I don't have as much, tape on Joe Burrow in the NFL as you got on Lamar, as you got on, Kyler Murray. Mind you, I don't even think Kyler Murray would be a top 10 quarterback for me. But maybe he would, because I would have him over Dak Prescott. I don't like the way Kyler Murray play quarterback, but I think I would. I think he is more talented than Dak Prescott. Like, I think if you plug Kyler into that Dallas team, they would have more success. Even though Kyler got him good team himself, he ain't got the offensive line that Dallas done had, and he ain't got them running backs that Dallas got over there. So he done always had the receivers, and he done had good tight end, but he ain't never had all of that stuff on offense. That's what I'm saying. Dak, to me, done been one of the biggest underachievers in the NFL the last couple years, considering the talent he got. Now, to me, the biggest underachiever in the NFL the last couple years done been Baker Midfield. Speaking of which, Baker Midfield being traded to the Carolina Panthers is just a laughable situation to me. Like, of course Carolina goes out and that's the year after they go and get a failed project that is Sam Darnold, they go out and get Baker. To me, this is even more laughable because you can make an excuse in your head that maybe Sam is not as bad as people think he is. He never really had the weapons, the infrastructure, the offense, blah, blah, blah. Baker had a coach of the year, the best line in football for 2 to 3 years, where damn near everybody on his team was ranked in the top 5 at their position on his line and was Pro Bowlers. Multi-time Pro Bowlers at receiver. Multi-time 2 great tight ends, one of which I continue to tell y'all, and David Njoku. Y'all not going to realize how good that motherfucker is until Deshaun Watson throwing him the ball, bro. Baker Mayfield was one of the big, and the previous regime. It's so crazy because David Njoku was a good draft pick, and he is a good tight end. But they refused to use the motherfucker. But they refused to let him go, too. It's so crazy. And then when Kevin Stefanski actually tried to use him, Baker just couldn't get the ball to him. And so you got Austin Hooper who is a Pro Bowl tight end. You got so many different things. Great defense. Cornerstone defensive player. And Baker Mayfield continued to come up short. I know people love to give him all the credit for that playoff win, which Ben Roethlisberger had more to do with it than Baker actually had. But I'm not going to do that on here. I'm not going to do that. But I do think Carolina's a goofy franchise. And what I think is going to happen is Baker's going to end up starting by the end of the year. I don't think he'll start the season, because why in the fuck would the Panthers make Baker Mayfield a starter a month out of the season when Sam done been there for the last, year and this entire offseason? I think Sam going to have to play his way out of this job, which will probably happen at some point in time this season, because I don't think Sam Darnold I don't think Baker's better than Sam. But I don't want to argue about which one is better, because I don't think neither one of them are good quarterbacks. But I think Baker Mayfield lacks I think mechanically, Baker Mayfield is not better than Sam Darnold mechanically. But Baker Mayfield then had a better infrastructure, better coaches, a better coach, a better weapons around him, to where people might think that, he's not a better quarterback. And I saw Skip Bayless say the other day that Sam Darnold is a bust, but Baker not. How the fuck is Baker not a bust and he was the first pick in the draft and he's no longer with the team that drafted him? Not by choice, because they didn't want his ass no more. Then he didn't want to be there no more because he underachieved at a crazy level. But yet everybody want to make excuses for him. But Lamar not a top 10. Could you imagine if Lamar had what Baker had in Cleveland, and Lamar constantly couldn't make the playoffs, and Lamar constantly was having 6-10 records and shit? Could you imagine? They'd kill him. But it's an excuse after a fucking excuse for Baker Mayfield. And I just don't understand that. But back to him and Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's problem is decision making. Sam Darnold make absolutely atrocious decisions. It's damn near to the level of a Ryan Fitzpatrick to a certain extent. Like, I don't know why Sam Darnold makes some of the decisions he makes. It's almost like he cut his brain off at times and just, say fuck it. That's his problem. And he will make a shit ton of those decisions throughout the duration of a game, a season. It's like I said about Jimmy Garoppolo during the season last year. I love Jimmy. Jimmy can have a drive where he is looking like the best quarterback in the NFL. And on that exact same drive, Jimmy can make one of the best throws you've ever seen in your life. And on the next fucking throw one of the stupidest fucking interceptions you've ever seen in your fucking life. That make you just say, Jimmy, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what, but Jimmy, bro, what did you see, bro? Like, what the fuck is this? Jimmy Garoppolo do that shit like every other game or so. He really was bad in the playoffs this year, but I ain't hating on my boy. But just imagine if Jimmy G was just anywhere near as good as he was in previous years, they probably make the Super Bowl again. And that's wild. But I see why it's so hard for San Francisco to make a decision on him and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, on him and Trey Lance. Because when you got a quarterback that's, when he healthy, you can win at the level you win with at Jimmy G. That's why I don't care how ugly it look with Jimmy G. I don't care about people saying, oh, he need everything to go right. Well, if the team willing to do what they doing to put the shit around him, then I'm cool with that. The fact that they win at this clip with Jimmy G, I see why it's so hard for San Fran to get rid of him. It's hard to get rid of that type of winning, because what happens if you cannot win at that type of clip with a Trey Lance? You literally already have a blueprint on how to win with Jimmy G. You know what to do to win with Jimmy G. You don't know what to do with how to win with Trey Lance yet. What if you never figure out how to win with Trey Lance? And you sit there and regret, like, oh, we could have done this and that, and we could have just won with Jimmy G and blah. You see what I'm saying? So I see why it's hard for them to get rid of Jimmy G, but I do think they'll end up trading him. Just because Jimmy G, like, I don't understand why Carolina didn't go for Jimmy G. Like, that don't make no sense that you went for Baker. I don't even know how you can look at Baker's tape and look at Jimmy G's tape and be like, oh yeah, Baker's so much better than Jimmy G. Because that's just wild. I don't like that you can look at the 49ers and give all the credit to everybody and give Jimmy G so little credit for helping his team get to not just the Super Bowl, but to an NFC championship game again, and say to yourself, oh, no, that was just everybody else. Nowhere near did Jimmy play any part of it. All that was. But Baker can have underachieved at the level he done underachieved, and you look at it and be like, oh, yeah, none of that was on Baker. Like, what? That shit just makes no sense. You can't even look at Baker and say, oh, yeah, my eye test screams that he's a great. No, it don't. He got an ugly throwing motion. He underthrow a shit ton of people. It's so crazy because he underthrow and overthrow people. Like, it's no really in between with him. He gonna overthrow you or he gonna underthrow you. Like, it's really crazy. And people love to say, oh, well, Baker's so no, he's not. No, he's not. He got to boost them numbers at certain years because Stefanski put him in a play-action offense because he knew he had a two-headed beast in his backfield. But, just to basically sum this up with Carolina, Carolina's a bad franchise. They haven't always been a bad franchise. That's what's so crazy. You don't look out for Cam Newton and protect your investment in him, and you just let him become, fucked up by injuries. But you're willing to bank on Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. That's absolutely crazy to me. But with that, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Go out there and try to make somebody's day better. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.